I'm going to critique Lenny Kravitz Architectural Digest home tour in Paris and also use it as a case study for the style of soulful elegance, what he calls, and what I call is sprezzatura. You gotta find out what that means by the end of the video. My name is Arvin Haddad. I'm the How to Buy a Mansion guy. Let's watch this video together.
AD, welcome to Hotel de Roxy. Come on in. Well, first of all, this place is called Hotel de Roxy. It's named after my mother because it was her dream to come live in Paris. She wanted to retire after doing 11 seasons of the Jeffersons, and she never got to do it. So I'm doing it for both of us. And this place is a real gift. I've been in this house for 22 years now, but I've been in Paris my whole career. When my first album, Let Love Rule, came out in '89, they weren't quite sure how to market me in America because I didn't fit in a box.
This is really fascinating, actually, because I don't blame them. He definitely did not fit in the late 80s, early 90s as an African American in the United States. That's when gangster rap was popular, right? And his style at the time was towards the end of the cycle. You know, his style is more of like a Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix, Prince, a little bit of Bob Marley in there, right? And it forced them to launch his career in Paris, which had amazing side effects, which actually what I love the most about him, because he has been extremely successful in design, not just music. He's designed, I think, furniture, fashion, and homes. He's had multiple successful developments in Los Angeles alone, where all of them sold extremely well and were extremely different in architectural style, interior design than this property, which means and tells me that he is not like one trick pony. He understands design at a deeper level and could apply different designs, different elements to different properties at different locations and be successful at it. And I salute him for that.
So they sent me to Paris. It's my favorite city in the world. It's just an inspiring place culturally, music, art, fashion, cuisine. It's got it all. I love Paris, but I love this house. And I walk through the front door.
All right, let's talk about the property. Look at this. This is an internal wow factor as good as it gets. There's really not a view property, right? You just get this gorgeous stairway with a lot of volume. This is fantastic for Paris. What's guaranteed over here is a horrible layout as we know it. Like, this is not an open layout. This is going to be absolutely room to room to room and not even connected with each other. So you have to come to this courtyard, go to the next room. It's as traditional as it gets.
I got the opportunity to work with Steinway, and I designed this grand piano a few years ago, and it's a piece that I'm really proud of.
All right, first impression, it does not go. The piano does not go, but I promise you, he's been very aware that the piano doesn't really go. And you will find out exactly why, and why this particular style which he's executing over here, it doesn't matter that if it doesn't go, because it actually shouldn't really go. He's kind of going against the grain on purpose, and I will explain why and how.
I wanted to use an African form for the piano and blend the two styles of European design and African design. And I designed it for this space.
All right, pay attention to this African theme, because one of the core elements of a design is continuity. So when you go from one room to another room, you carry something with you. And he's dedicated this property to his mom and his experience of African culture, which is, by the way, not like a first thought that comes to the brain. This is not an easy thing to do, but he does it effortlessly and he does it beautifully, which is extremely hard to do. But once you learn his trick, you would be able to really execute Parisian, regal architecture and design in almost any other design if you follow his formula, which you're going to learn by the end of this video.
This is the petit salon. It's called the Roxy room. And it's dedicated to my mother, as she was the love of my life. I was a mama's boy. I found a bunch of photographs that my father had taken of my mother in the late 60s and got them framed by the same framer that does a lot of framing for the Louvre. I just wanted to have a room where I was surrounded by her image. This is my favorite photograph of my mother. It's just a moment, and I love the composition, the hat, the look on her face. And that photograph, one of the major ways that I remember her is in the late 60s, she would read poetry in Central Park. And this guy, he used to play the guitar, and she would sit like that and read Langston Hughes and other poets. It's one of the deepest impressions I have of her. For me, soul is the most essential element. Putting yourself into it, whatever your soul is. You know, people ask, well, how do you define your design? I call it soulful elegance.
I call it sprezzatura, which is coined by Baldassare Castiglione in 1528, I believe, and it means effortless elegance. It's Italian, and it's exactly what he has done with this property. You keep the core formal, and then you cheat. You do the unthinkable effortlessly, and you can get away with it. You go by the rules, and then you break it a little bit. And that's exactly how he's been able to implement an African culture, pretty solid African elements in a Parisian, very sophisticated property in Paris. And it has landed like a 747 in Bikini Islands. Okay. It is beautiful. It is elegant. It's fun, just like himself. It's Lenny. It's his style. I actually believe for this property, this is his core style for himself. The other projects that I've seen him work on, it's been an exercise in design. And his primary residence, where he's getting his core inspiration from in his own style that he wears, in his jewelry, in everything else he does, he is going with his core belief, which is kind of controlled chaos. You will see more of it. Pay attention.
You know, it's being elegant, sophisticated, but with soul, you know, with your heart, with your spirit, because design and elegance without that feeling is just designer names and, you know, stuff. But when you're collecting, it really reflects who you are.
Okay, let's pay attention to this room. Let's use this as an example. Walls, molding, chandelier, draping, everything, the floors, Parisian, all Parisian, okay? Now here comes the cheat, okay? There is a zebra stool right there. That's not normal. Like, I wouldn't recommend you doing that in your house, right? But first of all, it gives him the continuity. We said he's committed to the African cultural elements for this property. And then he's washed out the floors. Typically, you wouldn't see the floors at this level of washed out, kind of I would say, white oak finish. And the reason he's had to do that is because he's gone with this beautiful, beautiful burgundy, eggplant, darker tone on the walls, which is absolutely elegant and contrasts and makes it moody and, sexy and elegant at the same time. Now, I don't recommend you creating a mausoleum in a room for your mother. Now, my mom has passed away too, and I'm not going to go create a room just for her in my personal residence. But he's a designer, right? Like, some designers just have the itch for design. I don't think he thinks like most other people. For me, I would have absolutely 100% added a bar to this room to service the main room we're going to see next, because it has no functionality. It's repetitive. It should have been either a library, an office, or a bar, to not have that repetitive nature of a seating arrangement next to the grand room next door that we're going to see next.
It's beautiful, you know, whatever your style is, just being authentic to who you are. We all have to tell our story. This is the Grand Salon, and this is where I receive folks.
Then what did you do in the other room, Lenny? See, that's like a prayer room, which connects there. Like, again, he's not in the box, guys, okay? He's kind of out there, right? Don't do what he's doing. Again, people like him have a fetish for design. They would just design a room because of wanting to, satisfy a need of a design in their head in reality, right? Just to implement it, just to have it as a collectible piece. So having two seating arrangements next to each other is completely idiotic.
Another thing that I love about this room is this is the first chandelier that I designed, that Kravitz Design did. This chandelier was made for Swarovski, and it was in one of the art fairs years ago. It's called the Hotel de Roxy.
Again, pretty traditional. Like, that's not African. The chandelier is not African, but it is him. It's kind of disco. It's a rock star vibe. Again, it's not an easy, and he's definitely made the commitment of African first. He's gone like, okay, I want to dedicate this house to my mom. I want to be reminded of my mom. I'm going African. I'm going to the roots. And Paris, by the way, has a very strong colonial history and everything. So there's a lot of African culture there. But he just balancing it is scary. Like, as a designer is like a pretty daring task. And the fact that he's matching this African mannequin and these, I think, elephant trunks coming out with this kind of a disco looking ball is breaking the rules, right? It's exactly breaking the rules.
Yeah, these chairs were done by Kravitz Design many, many years ago. I love when you do something years ago and you have no idea where they're going to end up, but when they end up where they are, it looks like they were designed for that space.
It does. It matches the rug perfectly. Look at the color. Again, he's conscious of adding textures, but not overdoing the palette. So what is the palette? It's this white and gray. Then you've got the light wood, which is again on the lighter tone. And then you let the art do the talking. Even the African mannequin was in white and black tones, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the palette, it was not overwhelming. The pops were in the Warhol paintings to bring life to the room.
This is the dining room. I like to have dinner parties and invite interesting people from all different backgrounds to sit and enjoy a meal and conversation. This room is centered around this photograph of my grandfather, who was the head of the family.
Can you spot what's missing? I sometimes pause the frame and ask my audience a question so they get better at exercising this muscle. There's one element missing. Try to figure that out. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. A natural plant. A natural green plant. See, I love the color of the walls. And interestingly, I'm actually using a very similar colors in the future for my brand. So I'm very shocked to see it over here. I absolutely love this elegant burgundy. That dance between the two colors, extremely elegant, timeless, warm. So it's very appealing to me. Again, he has the continuity of the wood chairs that bring that African vibe. A picture of his grandfather, which is really cool. But what's really missing here is maybe some sort of a really large plant with large leaves. You do see a little bit greenery outside, but I'm kind of disappointed that he hasn't brought anything inside over here because the walls are just overwhelming. You need to break that up, and a plant would have broken that perfectly.
This room's all about the nighttime. I never have lights on very bright. People come in here and they think it's quite dark. So the lights are always on very dimly, and it just feels rich and warm and vibey, and that's the way I like it. This is by one of my favorite artists in the furniture world. I have several pieces of his. I've been collecting him for a long time. This is Paul Evans. He was an absolutely incredible artist, and I'm just drawn to his work.
See, he's breaking the rules with texture here. You see that how weird of a crazy texture of a table this has? And everything else is super smooth, from the dinner table to the smoothness of the chairs, to the floors, to the, the velvet draping. Everything is so clean, polished. And then this texture is the only element there, and also the big seats that kind of break that up. These are all intentional, okay? Either it makes sense to him or he does it subconsciously, but I'm the one who's spent my entire life analyzing, reverse engineering beauty into elements that you put together to implement a design that people will pay the most amount of money for. I have a 5-day workshop. The link is in the description. It's starting in a couple weeks. In day 4 and 5 of the workshop, we talk about avatars. And that's where reverse engineering these feelings, right, into what elements actually make up for people to have that goosebumps on their skin, so they'll pay you the most amount, really plays in day 4 and day 5 for both purchasing a property and also designing a property, remodeling a property, all of that stuff. Link is in the description. Check it out.
This table is designed by Carl Springer, and I've had this for many years. I love it. The lacquer is just worn. It's got a lot of character. These are Africa chairs. Scarpa had these for a very long time. They just made their way to Paris. And the 2 chairs at the end I found at the Paris flea market at Les Pouces, where I go every week. One of my favorite things to do in Paris.
You see, the imbalance is intentional, is deliberate. It's exactly sprezzatura in design. And if you learn this design, if you learn how to take a regal, like a very Parisian, very heavy, classy, old school, old money design, and you throw this at it while keeping everything else elegant and keeping a right balanced palette, you get beauty.
We're in the library, and this library probably means the most to me because my mother, she kept speaking about learning French and reading books, and that she wanted to have a library. And it was something that stuck with me, and it's actually filled with a lot of books.
So he has 2 mausoleum rooms for his mother. Okay, don't do this, but can you spot the sprezzatura? Like what is the cheat he's done in this room? Can you spot it? It's the speakers on the floor and the modern couch. He did everything else right, and then he threw that in there to just, make it effortlessly. I don't care. And that looks good. That also plays in fashion. It's like actually the core of Italian fashion. It's when you wear a really nice suit, but you throw the coat over your shoulder, or you have your buttons open over here, and everything else is proper. That makes beauty, right? You show everyone that you know the basics, right? You know exactly how to be elegant, but you don't care. And he's done it beautifully. Again, very cool. But what's really kind of upsetting is that this is like, yes, you can call it a library. I don't know if you would use it as a library. It's just really 3 rooms that are sitting arrangements next to each other on the same floor. Very redundant.
Downstairs is the work floor. That's where the studio is. Well, I collect pieces that have great meaning and inspiration to me. People that changed my life, that inspired me, that educated me. And all of the things I have down there came to me different ways. Some personally, Jimi Hendrix, James Brown, Prince, Bob Marley, Miles Davis, John Lennon. We're in the bedroom. It's a gift to be able to sleep peacefully every night. The word recreation is recreation. When you're an artist, to be able to continually be inspired, you have to continually recreate. It's such a luxury to have a room with this kind of volume, and the oval shape is just extraordinary. And very few pieces. Really, it's just the bed and 2 chairs, 2 tables and 2 lamps and a console. But they're all very substantial and hold weight. And so you're able to put very few things in the room, but they're all very bold and give a lot of energy.
But wait, a lot of people have tried that. Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, their house, very minimalistic. They put minimal. Why didn't that work, but this worked? Can you spot it? Do you know why? Pay attention to the shape of all the materials in this room. Did you notice the oval shaped room? Almost everything in this room, from the speakers to the futuristic chairs, to the bedstands and the lights above them, to the skull, to the mask, they were all round, complementing overall oval shape of the room. And that's the controlled, right? And the vulnerability is the skull. It's controlled vulnerability. It's like you do everything right, but because you did everything right, you get to cheat. And you can put a freaking skull with a snake coming out of it, and you will come and see it and say, wow.
Wow. Music is essential. I have Bang & Olufsen all throughout the house. I love their products. I love their design. I did not want to have a television in the bedroom. I have this room next door where I can watch films.
Look at this chandelier. What a beautiful piece. Who the hell can pull that off, right? And it would be the last thing if you hire a traditional designer to design a room in Paris to say, like, we should be able to do this. And by the way, the ceiling is also mirrored and everything else looks proper. And then you bring this massive chandelier or light fixture for that matter, that looks like old bottles hanging upside down. I don't even know what the hell they are, but it's so beautiful. And look at the palette, how beautifully it matches every other piece over here. And you still continue with the African theme. Dude, this is not easy.
That's it on this floor. So now I'm going to take you down to the basement so you can experience the heart and soul of this house. Come on.
I don't know about heart and soul of the house. I would call it the engine room of the house. This is where the house gets its mojo. It's very grungy. I guess he's a rock star. He can do whatever the hell he wants in Paris. But I guess if you're a bachelor, it's not a bad thing. Completely separated from the house. So it's telling a completely different story. I guess the African theme somewhat is continuing with this topless African lady. But sure, like, you go, Lenny.
The design of this house.
We came back. Sorry. All right. We're not in a nightclub anymore. We came back.
I moved in here when it was empty, did work on the place, put it together in the way I felt at the time. But I've evolved over the last 22 years. And so the house has just been completed to where it's at the place that I am now. And I know that this will last. I won't need to touch it again in my lifetime. It represents so many parts of my history, my story, my evolution. And, Zoe will take it from here.
I will take it from here. You see, in the world of overly designed properties, Lenny's property is whispering imperfection is confidence. He calls it soulful elegance. I consider it sprezzatura, which is you master the rules and then you break them. Your base is clean. The chaos is the accent. This is a case study of how you can implement this in your own property if you see the rules that you have to follow and then which places and when and where to break them. You see, I reverse engineering goosebumps and feelings into equations. And if you want to learn how to do that, there's a 5-day workshop. Link is in the description below. And the second thing is if you want to see triplex in Tribeca that is not even in Tribeca, click over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the comments.